Hi, my name is Josie and I have a bunch of sketchbooks to show. This is my third time doing this. In return for me doing this 3 times, I decided to grab more sketchbooks that I had. Some are unfinished, like I think 2 out of the 5 I have, but the other 3 are completely done, so yeah. I will go through them in chronological order so you can see my development of art throughout the past year and a half, I think. Okay, so this first one is the tiny sketchbook. I was super into trolls like a year ago and got these troll stickers from Five Below. This is when I was trying to develop an anime style or sort of get out of my comfort zone of semi-realism. This starts with an anime girl, you know. Super cute. This is when I started getting into drawing cute girls because I used to draw a lot of guys, so I think you can kind of tell I used to draw a lot of guys, but some of these are a bit interesting, but I like them all the same because I was experimenting with markers. This is an old Oshi. He's a little cow. I really like how the markers look on this paper. Mostly in this sketchbook is random doodles, so a lot of these are just characters without any purpose. I was mostly trying to experiment with color and using the marker. I think I was looking a lot on Pinterest references, so a lot of these you might have seen before, and here's when I was figuring out lighting. I think I did pretty good with this one because it looks kind of dark and it fades to light. Miku, let's go. I love Miku, loving her since I was in elementary school. I am 24 now. I think I started getting the hang of using markers a bit. I like how I did the lighting on the shirt here. I should do that more often, honestly. An unfinished sketch. I like how this turned out. I think I was trying to see how the marker would work with just straight on pencil. Some random anime girls. This is just the random anime girl sketchbook, I guess. This is when I was like, wow, I can draw cute girls. I have the power to draw cute girls. Like, this is amazing. All my years of experience of drawing anatomy and mostly real life figures, so I never got to experiment with changing my style yet. And here's Abigail in my older style, I would say. And here's me trying to get out of my comfort zone again, using like bigger eyes, different colors than I would normally use. Haley from Stardew Valley. I think that during this time I was playing Stardew Valley with my 2 friends, my besties. Yeah, I was definitely playing Stardew Valley around this time. Frog thinking about gay thoughts, aka me. Yeah, Maru. I'm surprised I well, Yonder, Emily. This is pretty cool. I like how painterly it looks. Like I'm starting to blend the colors a bit more. I'm pretty sure I did this with a hoo-hoo marker. And this is when I'm pretty sure I'm just experimenting a lot. I'm starting to develop a style, I think, but it took a long time of just experimenting with the different styles. I like this design, it's pretty cute. I'm sure I got inspiration for most of these. Oh, except for this one. This is an old character I made in elementary school, and I wanted to see what it would look like if I redrew him in my current style. And I kind of want to redraw him again, because it's been 2 years. Oh, this was my Stardew character. More experimenting. I think I was using brown liner instead to see what it would look like. I think this is like a classic anime girl that's on Google, like in the early 2000s. Bunny girl. Oh, this is a character that was also someone I made in elementary school. I had like this whole comic idea in elementary school and I would work on it almost every day, and these two characters, I'm pretty sure they were love interests, you know, of course. And she's a cat girl, of course. So yeah, I should redraw them and honestly redesign them because I kept them similar design, but I have the power. I have the power to redesign them. This is another character from the elementary school comic I made. Since I was super into trolls, I drew at least some troll fan art. More experimentation. Oh, I was practicing using the colorless blender to make these sort of effects in the background. I think it looks pretty cool. I should probably do a lot of the experimenting I was doing. A Teto mention. I can't show the last page because it has like cheeks. But that's it for this little sketchbook that I did. The next sketchbook I'll show is the mainly JoJo fan art, but also OC sprinkled into the mix. Alright, so this is my sketchbook, and this was after the last tiny sketchbook. So this is my OCs. It's Jean, River, and Penny. These are a part of a webcomic I'm developing. I am slowly working on it. A lot of storytelling to develop. Here's Peppermint, Jean, and Penny. And here's where the JoJo fan art starts. I really like how most of these came out. But before we see the rest of the JoJo fan art, I have a Shadow and a Yoshi, just because I wanted to not draw humans for a moment. I was watching JoJo at the time with my friend. We watched through all the seasons throughout the summer. It's been almost a year, nearly, so. And some more Persona fan art, Makoto and Fuka. Jolene. I was really getting into lining with pens, so my line work is kind of rough, you can see, and there's still like pencil marks. But it's okay for now. Mostly trying to figure out the poses, doing poses on traditional paper because you can't Control Z. I would say I kept pushing forward in my art, especially traditional art, because this probably took me like 3 to 4 hours because just sketching was a pain because there's no lasso tool, there's no Control Z, it's just much more difficult than digital art, I feel like. This is a self-portrait. I do a couple self-portraits now and then, and I think this is cool. I did like a little colorless blender technique. Poochie. I thought this pose was super cool. A lot of these poses I pretty much took a screenshot off of Netflix and redrew what I saw. My bestie boos, these are my friends. Drew this for our little group chat. And yeah, the frog is me and the rest are my friends. This one I really struggled, I remember, because I just struggled a lot with the sketch, and then I didn't really like how the line art came out, so I redrew it. And I do like how this one turned out a bit more. I really like how I did the creases in his clothes and the pose. I think it's pretty nice. How I wanted it to be proportioned. His arm could be considered long, but I kind of like how it looks. This is my OC Athena. I didn't finish this, and I can see why. The proportions are kind of off. I know myself to redraw things until I get it right, so I redrew him, and I think he looks cool. I think he looks better. It's a close-up and not body, but ended up drawing him either way. And Ichiban. Some of my OCs being curious. This is Penny and Athena. In my comic, I'm still developing different relationships throughout. And I'm pretty sure this is the last page. I didn't finish this because I didn't like it, but it's alright. My Tamagotchi. These are some papers that I had experimented on. This is a pencil drawing of Bangalore from Apex Legends. I've done a couple of comics for Apex Legends, and a couple years ago you can see the commissioned work I had done in my card. There's a couple comics leading to their Twitter if you want to check that out. And this is just paper I was experimenting with marker. It's not really interesting, but I do like how she came out here. I think she came out pretty. It was mostly to test out the colors, so. On to the next sketchbook. Okay, I realized I actually have 6 sketchbooks, but 2 of them are not completely filled, but anyway. This is a sketchbook I did from December 2024 to January 2025. I just decorated it with the chibi designs of my characters from my webcomic, and I just sprinkled them around so I can tell what sketchbook this is mainly used for. And it was mainly used for developing art for my webcomic. The sketchbook's pretty big, so I have to record it at a slight angle, so hopefully it's not too bad. But this is my OCs. All these characters in here are my OCs, and I won't explain too much about them. I think that my webcomic will explain a lot about them in the way I want them to be introduced to the world. my babies, my children. But I will go through like what their names are and stuff. This is Peppermint, and she's dressed up in some clothes I had gotten in Infinity Nikki before everything went down with that. But she's the main character of my story, along with the side protagonist that I pretty much draw throughout the sketchbook. And here is Penny and Athena. I think they're super cute. I wanted to, when I first started drawing in this sketchbook, it being very difficult for me to draw in because I was not used to doing traditional art yet. I felt pretty rusty, and I think that a lot of the stuff in this sketchbook I didn't like. And I'm still not entirely sure, like here, like I just crossed out his eyes because I didn't like it. I think I had to get through all the bad drawings to get to the good drawings, so this sketchbook is filled with quote-unquote bad drawings that I didn't like at the time. I just kind of finished them to like have something finished. Here's Peppermint, Athena, and Penny. And here's Jean with longer hair. These are the antagonists of the story, the first drawings of them. I'm still working on them right now. These are Penny's alter egos, and I like how I rendered all of them, honestly. I think they're pretty bright. I like how I rendered these pants and the jacket. I think it's pretty cool. More Penny alter egos. And yeah, I really struggle with liking my own art. I think that it's something that a lot of artists struggle with. I've been struggling with it for a really long time, but recently I've been trying to give myself compliments even though I don't really believe in it. I think it's important to not completely put yourself down. And I tried to not give up when it comes to art, so I ended up redrawing it literally next page because I get really upset and frustrated if I can't draw something. So I either keep trying to work on the old drawing until I give up and take a break, and I come back with a better mindset. So I ended up drawing this, and I like how I rendered it. A lot of these sketches are unfinished and some I don't want to show yet, but I mostly want to show off how I was experimenting with marker. Like here, I got acrylic marker. This actually was not Artex. This was a brand from Hobby Lobby, and I don't really like it. They smell weird, actually. They smell really weird. And here is River and Jean. I am gonna explore their relationship as toxic yaoi. Pretty much the gist of it. Here's Athena again. And I asked my friends to create side characters for me if they wanted to, since my webcomic is about connections and I wanted to express that even throughout the development of the webcomic. So I asked my friends, like, hey, if you want to make a character for my webcomic, feel free, give them a backstory if they fit in the universe. Like, I just want to have fun with this, honestly. Here are sketches of the expression sheets I later digitized. I drew these around January. And these are all viewable on my card, on my webcomics card. My webcomics card is linked in my personal card. So yeah, I have links within links, but all my links are on my card, which is in the description. So yeah, these are just mostly expressions I was doing. I need to do them again, in my opinion. I want to do them again. And this is when I got the Artex acrylic markers, because the green had exploded and I was like, this is a perfect green for Peppermint's hair. So let me just use as much of the green as I can before it dries out. So I used a lot of the green that exploded, and I think I made good use out of it for what I could have. And the rest is just trash. I think that it was mostly just testing paper, and like I said, I didn't really like this sketchbook at first, so a lot of the papers are torn out and just kept because I don't want to throw them out, because I know I don't like them, but someone might find them interesting, but not enough for me to show them. And that's the end of this sketchbook. Since I'm on the topic of OCs, I'll show my other sketchbook that's filled with my characters, and a sketchbook I'm much more proud of, I'd say, because I finally figured out how I wanted to use markers, and I decided to just go all in, go for the experimentation. So these characters are from my prologue. This character is based on the sun, this character is based on the moon. Kind of cliche, but I really like the trope. So that's my excuse for using that. Here's Penny without her glasses, more of the Artex acrylic marker. I think I was just experimenting still. And this is Peppermint with the Artex acrylic markers. I really love using them. They're so nice. I specifically got the SimTap ones, so they're pretty good. I like them. They're very, very vibrant. And I started drawing more interactions between the characters instead of them completely standing next to each other. They're still standing next to each other, but at least they're talking to each other. So they're just both upset that they have to do physical fitness in the fragmented reality they're stuck in. And here's some more Athena. I love drawing her and Penny together, so here's more of them. I forgot to mention that most of these are mixed with alcohol and acrylic marker. Oh my god, they're still eraser shavings. I first put down the alcohol marker and then I overlay any mistakes with the acrylic marker. And that's what I did here. I mixed both acrylic marker and alcohol marker for the characters I rendered with alcohol marker and the background I did with the Artex acrylic markers. And I think the outcome came out pretty nice. I definitely improved from the last sketchbook. I started understanding how to use the material more and starting to get more comfortable with traditional art. Experimenting with lighting here with complementary colors of red and the green and reflecting it off of him and also River. I think I did a pretty nice job at least getting some perspective and also being able to fit this on one single page. Here is some more interactions between Penny and Peppermint this time. Penny is just talking about herself in a super exaggerated way, and Peppermint is thinking like, is she trying to impress me? Why is she going on and on? Here is River and Athena. River sort of discovering his superhuman strength, and I decided to draw Athena next to him to show that she was shocked at his newfound power. And here is Penny and Delilah. I remember I named her Delilah just now. She's the antagonist, and she is antagonist leaning. She has very antagonistic personality, and it comes up in the story as a conflict. And both of these characters are actually antagonistic. Jean is also as well. So I decided to draw them interacting with each other. Sort of just looks over at Penny and is like, why is your password? This is Luna. He's a sleepy boy, and the background was done in Artex acrylic markers while the character is done in alcohol markers. This was very random. I just wanted to experiment and honestly just paint whatever. This is my friend's character. For my comic, I asked a lot of my friends, and a lot of them did want to put their characters in my comic, so I was able to draw my friend Brooks OC. And I wanted to test if I could draw things besides characters, so I decided to draw a beach scenery with a crack in the sky to sort of show the fragmented reality, and a person there for reference. This is when I started to get more into inking. I liked the idea of nib pens, but right now I much prefer just the liners, because using the ink is a lot of work. I use fountain pens for this one as well. And yeah, this one was also used with the fountain pen because I just really liked lining at the time. This is another friend's character. He was more so doing it as a joke, but I decided to just take the idea since he didn't really care whether I did or not. And honestly, one of my favorite characters so far. He's just a little boy that explodes at any minor inconvenience, and I love that. Here is Peppermint with a big freaking truck behind her. That will be explained in the webcomic. These are mostly just, development drawing. This is some heterosexual activity. Here's me trying to develop their siblings. Some more Penny. And a River. Got all bloodied up. Athena. I'm pretty sure near the end of this sketchbook I was just sort of just drawing for fun, more so. And this was for a tutorial I posted on my original YouTube account, and it's up on my TikTok now. It was the way I process how to use markers now, and I thought I would reflect on that, on not really making a tutorial but making a guide of how I figured out how to use markers. Here's a Penny. And a Jean with long hair. Here's Athena and Penny. Near the end of this sketchbook, I was kind of tired of this sketchbook because I get that feeling near the end. I'm like, I just want to finish this sketchbook, so I was kind of not really as motivated to work in it anymore, but I still wanted to use the pages. Here's some more drawings. I wanted to draw them at different angles, and this is just an unfinished Jean. Some more unfinished work, pretty much. I was trying to figure out if you could use the anime hair vents with bangs, and you can. And here is the color chart I used for my characters since I drew them a lot. I like how it turned out. I drew this digitally and then colored it traditionally because I honestly really like how I drew them digitally. Yeah, it's just a bunch of paper like the last one, so I won't really go through it. This one I'm pretty proud of. It's like completely decked out in stickers. I think both front and back. Yeah, both front and back. It's just a sketchbook I use for collages. I'll get started. I do like the art in here. This was in between me working on OC art and just doing stuff outside OC art. I was experimenting with collages. I found out about the Y2K fashion and theme, and I love it so much. I actually like it so much, and I was really inspired by Sailor Y2K. I like how she was super confident in her art, and I really liked her videos, and I was just very inspired to start working in my sketchbook along with doing collages. So a lot of these are from Pinterest and stuff. 2 cat girls based on these 2 cat I found on Pinterest. And this is some Metaphor fan art. I played Metaphor and I absolutely loved it. And my favorite character was Basilio. I decided to make this whole spread, and it's not bad, I'd say. I really like how I placed everything, and he even has some gold splatter on him, which I really like. I do like the gold added onto it. It's I think it's a neat touch. Okay. I don't think there's anything bad, but this is just like from Bara Yaoi. I probably will censor this actually, but this was after the Hatsune Miku song. The Hatsune Miku song where she has these glasses. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. And here is my friend Brooks OC. Here's some Infinity Nikki outfits I had gotten. I like how they turned out. I just didn't finish this one. And here's a Teto and a Hatsune Miku. It's the Gyaru Teto. I redrew the Hatsune Miku I had drawn in elementary school. She kind of looked like this. I probably looked off a reference. I don't know where the original reference is, but I just decided to redraw her. And these are both done with acrylic marker, I think. And then I got super into Danganronpa. So this is soon after I finished Danganronpa 1, and I decided to, you know, draw the characters. Little Monokuma I printed out in the background. I really like how this turned out, honestly. These are like self-portraits, quote unquote. I just wanted to draw myself as a cat girl. I've recently figured out I just want to be a cute anime girl, you know. And this is for my bestie's birthday, my baby girl. And that's the end of this sketchbook. I still have a lot of pages left, and I definitely want to do more collages in it, so I have it on standby. Most recent sketchbook is a spiral bound because I don't know, I wanted to switch it up. So this is where I just draw mostly Danganronpa fan art. I think from when the first sketchbook I showed to this one, you can definitely tell I started to develop a style. I think that I started becoming more consistent with what I wanted, and I was definitely inspired by the Danganronpa fan art. But I'm also really into Animal Crossing, so I am a wild card when it comes to my interests because I like a variety of things. More Danganronpa fan art, and I like a variety of things. And yeah, I think the rest is just fan art and the trio. And I think after the sketchbook, I'm pretty much done. So if you got this far, thanks for watching. It was a longer sketchbook tour because I keep wanting to redo it, and I think I'm finally happy with how this one turned out because I showed a lot more art. And hopefully you enjoyed having me in the background listening to it. And here's a peppermint. This pen sucks. At this point I was just testing out pens and what I wanted to do more. I drew my baby girl Ganta, a kaide, and I'm pretty sure this is the last thing I did. It's just doodles and sketches. They're not very good, but I'm trying to get back into working my sketchbook again because I took a little break to work on some fan art and commissions. So thank you if you got this far, and thank you for looking through all my sketchbooks with me that I've done in the past year. Bye.